Hello folks, how you doing? Welcome back to Boxing Profiles. My name is Tony Prince and I'm your host today. Folks, today, before we start, I would like to thank my sponsors. And one of my sponsors is Tea with Tammy. And what I'd like to show you guys today is Tea with Tammy has organic teas. This is black loose leaf organic tea. Also, they also have, this is my favorite, bubbly, fruity tea. Okay? Folks, if you want to get away from all the sugar and things that cause diabetes, then Tea with Tammy is the best way to go. Okay? Also, I'd like to thank tonsmart.com for also making this possible. Today, we're going to be doing an interview with Jacob "Stitch" Duran. I'm going to be calling him here in a few minutes. We're just going to do a recording, just basically right over the phone. So just give me a few seconds here, and then we'll get him on the phone. Folks, if you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe. In the comment section, please write in a comment. Also, folks, we are living in the era of the undisputeds. So, folks, we could say this, that all these undisputed fights that are coming up are making boxing great again. And that's what's important, making boxing great again. Okay, folks, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get Stitch Duran here on the phone. Just bear with me here. Hey, how you doing, Jacob? How's everything going?
Loving life, man.
Good. It's good to hear that, you know. Same here, loving life, you know. Just trying to keep things in good perspective. That's all, you know. That's it.
Yeah, love it. So good. Glad you're staying busy.
Yeah, keeping myself busy. You know, I go down to the gym and help the kids down there for the up and coming fighters and things like that. Down there with Jesse Lopez at J&L Boxing Club in Fairfield, California.
Cool, man. Yeah, tell Jesse I said hi, man. We go back a long ways. Huh?
Oh yeah. We all do, you know. In fact, while we're here, I like to just go ahead and just let you know that I'm doing a podcast currently right now at this particular moment, and some of the boxing fans would like to know about Jacob Stitch Duran, and you know, how did you get that name, Stitch?
Well, you know, you should know. You know, I guess your listeners probably don't know, but you know, we've been knowing each other for 30 years. You were one of my professional kickboxers, and you know, not only did I train you, but I managed you. You right? So yeah, you should know how the name came. But for those that don't know, is one of Tony's sparring partners was Dave Rooney, that also used to spar with world champion Dennis Alexio. And with Dennis Alexio and Dave Rooney fought in Vallejo at the fairgrounds. And at that time, you know, I've always been a trainer, Tony, and I was transitioning into being a cut man. And I saw what cut men did, and Dave Rooney got a cut on his eyebrow. And knowing now what I know about cuts, you know, it wasn't that big of a cut, but nonetheless, I got some tape and I split it and made little butterflies and closed up his cut. And he says, quote unquote, is I don't have to go to the hospital. You save me some stitches, I'm going to call you Stitch. That's how the name came out.
Yes.
You know, I don't even know if you know where Dave Rooney's at, but last time I heard, he was like a fisherman in Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you know how much he knows on how he changed my life.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know, you also changed my life. You know, because when I first met you, I believe you were there for my first kickboxing match at the Arco Arena when I took on Alejandro Torres.
Oh
Yeah. I remember that. That was
the Torres brothers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was my debut, and I believe he was the ranked number 8 contender in the world.
Well, you know, you were well trained. Not only that, but you were an athlete, and you know, I think you, Chai Smith, and Dennis Alexio probably kicked the hardest of all the guys I ever worked with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Torres brothers and Juan Torres and Hector, they lived here in Las Vegas. Hector still does. Juan moved back to Lake Tahoe.
Uh-huh.
The Torres brothers were the kings of the hill.
Oh yeah. There was some bad boys. There was some bad boys. Hey Jake, I just got a few questions for you. What made you get into boxing?
Just kind of extending where I came from. I came from a kickboxing background, having been in the Air Force in 1974. I was stationed in Thailand, and that's where I trained for that whole year. I saw a guy throw a kick and knock a guy out, and from there, that was during the Bruce Lee era. If you remember, Tony.
Oh yeah.
And, I always said if I went to the Orient, I'd want to study the martial arts, and lo and behold, Thailand was the place. And but as you know, I mean, you were with me. I had a very successful kickboxing school, ASK, the American School of Kickboxing. And,
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, making that transition into boxing. Wrapping hands and working cuts was just fill up my resume, so to speak. And I've been blessed to work with all combat sports, kickboxing and boxing and MMA and bare knuckle fights.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I started off with you guys.
Right, that's true. I remember that. And I don't know if you know it or not, you're the only person that I know of that has experience in bare knuckle fighting, kickboxing, MMA, and boxing. So at this particular point, I'm going to say that you're undisputed. Because I don't know if it...
well, that's a fact. I'm with you, brother. I don't know anybody that's done all of them.
Right.
At the high level, right?
Right, at a high level. That is correct, I mean, you've been successful in movies. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It blows my mind every day as to, why me? But, I've come to the conclusion that why not me? It had to happen to somebody, and I just happen to have been that chosen one. And my character. I've always kept that professionalism and teaching and just trying to do the right thing and set examples. And I've been blessed.
Yes, you have, and you are truly, truly blessed. Just two more questions for you, Jake.
Sure.
Does Vegas know that you train fighters?
When I first moved that's a good question, and very few people have ever asked that because very few people know my background. But when I moved to Vegas, Tony, I came here solely to be a cutman because I thought all the great trainers in the world were here in Las Vegas, right? And I get to Vegas and I start hanging out at the gyms, and I'm seeing what these coaches are doing, and I'm telling myself, well, I could do that, and I could do that, and I could do that. And I started doing pads for guys, Mike McCallum, legendary Hall of Famer now, with him, and Terry Davis from Vacaville, remember him?
Yes, I remember Terry Davis very well.
Yeah, but he moved he trained in Las Vegas for a while, and I did pads with him and worked one of his fights, and then started going from there. But yeah, not a lot of people do. I ended up, because I had an 8-to-5 job with RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, so I couldn't full-time trainer because I couldn't give you 100% of my time. So I would kind of go and they would hire me just to do pads. So I would go and do pads, and yeah. So very few people know at this stage, at this level in time, that I was a trainer. I've done pads for Mike Tyson.
Right. Wow.
Like say the legendary Mike McCallum and Franco Bota when he fought Tyson. Oh, so many.
Yeah.
And so many, and hundreds and hundreds of world title fights. So I've lost count years ago.
Well, Jacob, just to let you know that I'm putting myself out there as a trainer for fighters for the very, very high level. My specialty is defense, so I'm putting myself out there, letting people know that I'm here and would like to go ahead and showcase my skills and what type of trainer I am and what I could bring to the table. And the last question for you, Jacob, do you have any plans of getting back into training fighters?
No. Good question also. Thanks, man, for having me on also. But no, I'm good with this. I'm staying busy as a cut man. I'm doing a lot of work. Like I say, I'm filming the Creed 3 movie right now. And so my plate is full, Tony.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But if somebody asked me out of the blue, sometimes I would just go do pads just to break sweat.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And just have fun, and if those opportunity comes, but not to do it full time because I just too many things on my plate already.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair. That's fair. You just keeping things in perspective. That's a good thing. That's a good job. That's a real good job. Real good job. So I won't take up too much of your time, Jacob. I'm just going to go ahead and go ahead and just make this a little short because I know you're a busy man. You have things you have to do.
Nah. If you got questions, I got answers.
Oh, you got okay. All right.
It's fun.
Okay.
I do a bunch of interviews and the guys the same thing as you. Oh man, 15 minutes. Well, 45 minutes later, we're still talking.
And you're still talking. Okay, so here's a question. Here's a question I like to ask you. I've always been intrigued with Floyd Mayweather and how Floyd Mayweather moves in his defense. So, but I never had the opportunity to really ask anybody. I've always heard people say Floyd's this, Floyd's that. It's like you're fighting, a machine. He sees everything. And, all I can say to you is, what is your opinion on those assessments?
All true.
All true?
Yeah. I go to Floyd gym all the time. He's not there, but the times that he was there and I mean, I know Floyd, I remember when he first came out of the amateurs, he came to Vegas and started training with his Uncle Roger, and he was a young kid. So yeah, we've been in the trenches many times. But everything they say about him, skill wise, is true. This guy is a natural. It's not something that was taught to him. It probably gave him perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But everything that he does to the T, and he does it very well. And the thing with a lot of the stories in Vegas is Floyd will be at the clubs and he don't drink.
Right.
But he would be at the clubs and all that, and because Bob Ware, his cut man right now, we're good friends. He said, man, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, Floyd said, man, I'm going to run to the gym. I'll meet you guys there. And he'll call Bob, and Bob would meet him there and go wrap his hands. But Floyd, every round that he trained, he always trained it to the highest capacity. So, yeah, he earned his stripes, bro.
Wow. And Jacob, did you get a chance to meet Roger Mayweather? He was an inspiration of mine. I mean, the man was just something else. He was just something else.
I know him all, Tony.
Yeah.
I've worked corners with Roger.
Okay. I mean, I go back and watch some of the tapes of Roger, and I remember one of the things that he said. He said he was saying only on HBO you get to see stuff like this.
Yeah.
He was.
But, he was very intelligent when it came to the history of boxing. Sit there with him and Mike Tyson and hear their stories or their knowledge of the game of boxing was quite intriguing, man. And I put a documentary together called "Giving the Fighter One More Round" years ago, and I know we were doing a fight in Seattle, and we're having breakfast in the hotel restaurant, and Roger's talking about the importance of a cut man and all that. And I got my video out and I recorded him and made it part of the documentary.
Wow.
Yeah, a very, very good guy.
And what's the name of that documentary again?
Giving the Fighter One More Round.
Giving the Fighter One More Round.
Yeah. Actually, it's a DVD that's sold at Cut Man for Hire Supplies.
Okay.
So him and I mean Floyd Senior. I just saw him the other day, and Jeff. I've worked with all four of them. Good people.
Now that is a gym that I would like to one day come up and visit the gym and just seeing what goes on there in the gym and just watch how they train. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I just got a call. Caleb Plant's coach. We're going to meet tomorrow at 12 o'clock at one of the gyms. But yeah, everyone, maybe every 2 weeks, I get out of the house and I'll go visit Bones Adams' gym. He has a gym, former world champion, and of course the Mayweather gym and City Boxing. That's a big gym, and then Salas, the Cuban coach, he has a real popular gym, and so I'll go visit and hang out with the guys and do what we're doing right here, just talking shop.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds real cool. Real cool. Yeah. Wow. It's amazing. I mean, all these years that went by, and I'm seeing you on television, I'm seeing you in movies, and I'm just going to myself, wow. He went a long way from where we were when we first started. He went a long way. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we touched bases. And as a matter of fact, you call me Jacob, right?
Yes.
It's funny because I tell people the whole world, for the most part, don't know my real name.
Right. Wow.
So, hey, what's your real name? What's your real name? But when somebody calls me Jacob, I know they're from the old school.
Older school, yes.
And always catches my attention.
Right.
And, so, yeah, to hear that is pretty awesome. But, yeah, we go back a long ways, man.
Yeah, long ways.
Some of the pioneers of kickboxing at this level.
Oh yeah, man, wow. Wow. I just think back, and Jacob, I just turned 60 in December. And for me, still getting in the ring with these young kids and the pros and these amateurs, and they're still amazed that I still can move, I still can I still have my power. So they're amazed. It's like, you're 60 years old? There's no way. I tell them, I'm 60 years old. I've been doing this most of my life. So
yeah, and you're right. You always move like a cat.
Yeah. So
once you have those skills, it's tough to lose.
Yeah.
If your knees are still good.
Yes. Yes, my knees are still good. And you know what? And being a little similar to Floyd Mayweather, because those movements are natural for me, that's the reason why I believe I haven't lost them, and that I keep going to the gym. I just won't stop.
Yeah, and same with Floyd. That was something that was his style, and guys try to emulate that.
Mm-hmm.
Even guys now doing pads, they try to do it like Roger and Floyd Sr. with Floyd Jr., but there's only one Floyd Jr.
Correct.
It's good for him, but it's not good for everybody.
Right. And since you mentioned that about pad work, I watch a lot of coaches online, and you're absolutely right about that. You can't teach something that is natural. You really have to have and understand what you're doing in order to do that. Some coaches, they just don't get it.
Yeah. No, that's 100% right. You have to have felt that pain to know where it's coming from.
Yes, that is correct.
And how to give it. And I always tell people nowadays, Tony, is our combat sports, the sports that I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
None of us have to be certified to be considered professionals like any other sport.
Right.
Every other sport, you have to be certified through some kind of courses or college and all that.
Mm-hmm.
We just get a license and start coaching guys, and whether it's right or wrong.
Right.
And
right.
So because of those natures, I always try to teach.
Right.
And I always try to give back, because it's not fair to the fighters if you don't know what you're doing. And this guy's putting his life on the line.
Yes, that's correct. And another great point, because putting your life on the line is a very, very serious matter. And I would tell people, unless you really, really know what you're doing, don't step inside that squared circle, because it's very, very dangerous in there. You got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, just through the transition and the years that I've been in this business, I've seen the dementia pugilistica.
Right.
The punch drunk syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that I've seen, and 15 years later, I'm talking to them again, and their voice is slurring, and they're not as astute as they used to be.
Right.
So it's a business.
Wow.
It's a great.
Wow.
Yeah.
And last question before we go here, I want to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis. I have never seen a small man with that much punching power.
Well, that's a good point, and I have mentioned, you're one of your specialties is balance. His position, the way his body is designed, height, weight, everything, girth-wise, and the way he positions himself as a fighter is every position that he's going to throw from is going to be a very powerful punch.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Chuck Liddell. Every time Chuck Liddell would punch somebody in the UFC, he had the kind of punches that went right through you. They didn't slip, slip punches.
Right.
They went right through you. And Gervonta Davis does the same thing. Like that type of punch.
Wow. I mean, when I saw the fight that he fought Barrios, and I was like, wow, this was a giant over him, and he put him down. I was really impressed with that fight.
Yeah, now he's fighting Rolly Romero, that I've known since he was a little kid here in Las Vegas. His father, Cuban, of course,
Mm-hmm.
father had just migrated from Cuba, and his father, he used to box as an amateur in Cuba, and he'd go to the gym and spar with guys like Terry Norris and all these other guys, smoking a cigarette, and he'd go out there and spar, and he would hurt people.
Wow.
But the son's very heavy-handed also.
Okay, I see.
That's how he's won his fights, and he's fighting Javante, but it's going to be style over power.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's going to be that's a fight that I'm gonna watch that fight also. And then what about the Devin Haney fight? Him against, I believe, it was, Gambosa.
Yeah, I've worked with Devin Haney many times, and actually a couple times. Kid is real good.
Yeah.
But Gambosa. So now you're talking about the type of style of the Devin Haney type of boxer and a flat-footed type of fighter like Gambosa. Who are you going to give the power to?
Yeah.
If it goes the distance, Devin Haney has a high probability of winning it. It's going to be a knockout. I would give it to Gambosa before I would Devin Haney.
Yeah. I had some concerns when I was watching Gambosa train. I was like, man, if he hits Devin with a good shot, this fight is over. So. I just hope Devin is taking this very, very serious and he's really, really training, because this being undisputed only comes just a couple times in your life. And right now, he's there.
Yeah, no, he's taking it serious. As a matter of fact, they're going up to Australia and get acclimated up there and everything. So he's on the right track. No, listen, I like the way he fights, and he's like Shakir Stevenson. They both, young, but they're both outstanding fighters.
Yeah. And you know what? In fact, what about the masterful beatdown I saw Saturday from Shakir Stevenson against Valdez?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've always said, I was just telling Charlotte, my wife here, that he looks like a baby, but the kid could fight.
Yeah, he could. Yeah.
I think I'm up around I think 8th, 9th round. I look at him as putting the Vaseline. I said, "You're having fun, aren't you?"
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. But that's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah. Jake. I mean, I really, when I saw the kid at first, I was kind of like, he's okay. But now that I see him at his best, I mean, he put hands on Valdez. I was like, wow, I haven't seen that in a long, long time. And then I think there was another fight. A young man, was it Keyshawn, I believe?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, Keyshawn, and he fought a guy that had 18, almost 20-something fights, and he TKO'd the guy. I mean, this transition that we're seeing, and all this stems from Floyd Money Mayweather, all the things that he's done in the ring, but these young fighters are not waiting. These young fighters are going after it right away. And I'm just like, man, I just like, wow, it's just amazing time in boxing and to be a boxing fan. And Nico Ali, okay, when I first seen the fight, I said, okay, I'm gonna watch this kid. He showed big improvement of last week, and I mean he hit his opponent with an overhand. I call that a Tootsie Roll, and I was just like, oh my God, what a punch! Just amazing, man. Just amazing watching these young fighters now.
Yeah, that's the new evolution. Boxing. These are the new talent that's up and coming, and just like MMA. When I first started with the UFC, the style of grappling is entirely different now because this game has gotten so much better. But that's the evolution.
Wow, it's amazing. It's just amazing, So, well, Jake, I'm not gonna I'm gonna go ahead and get off the phone and just go ahead and it's a pleasure talking to you and hearing from you and knowing that you have some things in the future that you're going to be working on. It's just great to hear from you.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I wrote a book, From the Fields to the Garden. The fields being as a farm worker and, of course, making it to Madison Square Garden. Well, I've been there for both MMA and boxing, but based off the book, and that's available at Amazon for those listeners. But based off of that, they're already filming a documentary on my life, and we're going to be interviewing, I think our last guy is Michael B. Jordan, when my final week of filming with him in a couple of weeks. So life is pretty good, bro. Wow,
good. As soon as that's all done, let me know so I can get a copy of that book. Okay. All right. All right, Jake. Hey, thank you for doing the interview.
I will. All right, pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye. there you have it, folks. So, folks, we just concluded with Jacob Stitch Duran, as you guys can hear. Had an opportunity to speak with him. Things is going well for him. Boxing fans that are out there, if you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe and write a comment in the comment section. If you have a question or something like that you would like for me to relay to Stitch, something like that, just ask the question and I'll just ask Stitch. Well, that's all I got for you right now. I'll be back at you guys real soon with the second part of how to block the jab and a different way of throwing the jab. You guys have a great evening. I'm your host, Tony Prince, Boxing Profiles. Good night.